created using Powtoon.
Thanks for stopping by for another episode of Ask Jason. My name is jasontroymedium. I'm starting to get some more questions about meditation and I guess the obstacles around meditation or the the excuses not to meditate. Now, meditation, like I said in earlier episodes, is basically there is no wrong or right way to meditate. And what we do is we put a lot of pressure on ourselves to actually be able to meditate like the experts or the like a monk or someone sitting on a hilltop and in a robe and just chanting all this. That's not what meditation is. Meditation is basically to bring you simply into the now moment. So you can do meditation while you're doing dishes. You can do meditation while you're walking your dog. You can do meditation sitting in traffic. You can do a meditative type of, it's just basically centering yourself. Even when you're waiting in line, you can just center yourself. It's almost like you're pulling yourself out of the drama. You pull yourself out of 3D and try and bring your attention more into 5D. You're physically still going to be there, but your awareness will start to pull out of the 3D space, which is when you start to lose that mind share. Now, if you're very condensed or anchored into 3D space, you're really going to hear a lot of mind chatter, which is basically operating from the first chakra, which is a fight or flight type of energy, which is speaking from that center. And if you're hanging out there, then you're going to have a lot of mind chatter that you're going to have to try and move your energy more up to this space or even up to here, where a lot of this is more telepathic and it's not as condensed, or the mind chatter is not as I guess repetitive in these states here. So a lot of my students will say they don't have enough time, they can't do it, they've got to be home, and it's all this not reasons not to do something, right? So, and definitely you're correct. If you don't have enough time, you don't have enough time. But if you start to make time, then you will have enough time. So, time is part of something that a lot of people struggle with. Making time to go to work, coming back from work, doing the dishes, doing all the chores, the daily grind of being in 3D. So, do 2-3 minutes a day when you wake up in the morning. Just make that time to connect. You can even you can be brushing your teeth. Just make that time to consciously start to do some meditative type of practice where you're connecting. Even the high level monks and the guys that are doing this, and that's all they do, and they don't even talk. They'll do a meditation walk where they're walking through different areas where they're doing their daily practice of meditation, which is just through walking. Now, if you have an animal, that's another way of bringing yourself into the now moment. The animals, small children, do that as well. An animal, if you're going for walks with an animal out in nature, that's a meditative practice as well, where you're just calming yourself and you're not thinking about the things that you have to do. You're always doing. The ego mind or the spiritual ego is always doing something, always getting you from here to there, A to B. And what meditation is, and this is what I teach students, is that it's not about A to B, it's about C. It's the try to see, right? You're going beyond that, and what you want to it's basically it's discipline. It's just saying yes to this, and same thing with with your food intake, with your water, with what you're eating. That's a discipline. It's a lifestyle. And when I teach my students or talk to them, it's basically you're a spiritual athlete. You're going through, if you're really wanting to progress or move forward or to activate this body-mind vehicle, to crank it up from 1 up to 10, you really got to have discipline, and it's more or less coaching yourself or training yourself, because basically if you've been sitting on the couch watching TV, watching movies, eating garbage, junk food, that type of thing, you've trained yourself to do that. You've done that since you've been so long that you've been doing that type of practice, and eventually you start to feel this truth, basically a truth ache to change. And if you're going to change, you have to start to train yourself to be more disciplined. But also, what I find is if you have a space that is your space, if you want to set up like an altar, if you've got some crystals or some spiritual type items that you want to place there, that is your space, and you go there daily. You go there in the morning, it could be in the basement, it could be in a room or a corner of your house. What you're doing is you're setting up the energy within that space, and you will actually get drawn to that energy, and you're just a repetitive practice will cultivate that. You're almost like cultivating an energy vortex within that space for you to go daily, and you continuously go there, and you'll start to feel more of expansion and an openness within that space, because that is your space. Just baby steps, one at a time. Now, also another excuse or another obstacle is a lot of people start to fall asleep because they are so much in their headspace that when they are able to have some rest, they get into this zone where they actually fall asleep. Now, try not to fall asleep. It would be part of your daily regiment of discipline to start that within your practice. So after a good night's sleep, and then you wake up in the morning, that might be the best time for you then if you're falling asleep within your meditations. Also, try not to have too many distractions around you. TVs, cell phones. If you're expecting somebody to come over, or if you've got kids and so on, try and make that space for you to be away from all those distractions. Or if you need to get out of the house and walk in nature and have a special spot in nature, you can do that as well. Now, another question or concern is from some of my students is that they just feel like they just don't know how to meditate. Now, I can tell you this: there is no way or perfect way to meditate. Okay. There are tricks and tips on how to get different energy centers moving, and on how to get into different states of awareness or altered states. So there are guided meditations that you can listen to. Now, the best way to meditate is without any type of, assistance from a guided meditation or music to bring you in those stated levels, because they are forms that are basically, I call them baby steps, or they're tools that you need to get you to the next level. And the ultimate level is not to be meditating with any of this stuff, but they're very good at the beginning stages. So learning how to meditate or trying to meditate, the best way is to go internally. It's just basically getting into your heart center or to your energy center to feel your own energy and where you need to work on, if it's the lower chakras or the higher chakras. But be able to feel the energy yourself instead of going outward, which is basically putting on a CD and listening to a CD that has different brainwave theta, delta, alpha waves, which are basically putting your brain into an entrainment, which is fine at the beginning, but eventually, once you start to come around full circle to all of this stuff, you start to lose these training wheels, and then you start to go internally and know that you have the tools to do this. Now, I can tell you this: when people say they don't know how to meditate, I say, well, because you don't know yourself. And meditation is basically the closest that you are to that higher part of you. So the further that you feel that you are distant from your source, or if you feel very, very alone, that's how far that you feel or you think you are from your higher self, or your conscious, or your creator, your God. Learning how to meditate is your practice. You start to build that practice or that daily discipline. It's like telling somebody how to work out, or there's different training techniques on how to work out. There's different exercises, and the same thing goes with meditation. It's basically a daily routine that is specific to you, and the way that you get connected, or the way that you are able to get into that zone, you have the power to do this. So. If you have any questions or concerns about this, give me a call, shoot me an email. My email address is jasontroymedium@gmail.com. My website is messagesfromspirit.ca. And this is another episode of Ask Jason, and thanks for stopping by.
created using Powtoon.